I have been crying for hours, yesterday and today, receiving texts on how I'm ungrateful. This crap just doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to see good intentions, but I'm called blind because I don't see any. I have never had a birthday party or dinner, which I've always wanted, but I don't know why I always thought it was unattainable in my adult life. I was talking to my friend and telling her how my family never celebrates birthdays because my dad is really religious, and how I always feel lonely on my birthday. She asked me why I didn't celebrate my birthday now that I was an adult. And I thought, yeah, why don't I celebrate myself now that I'm grown? I planned a birthday dinner at a fancy restaurant and told everyone that if they kept their order under $35, I would pay for it. So I made sure to work overtime 3 months in advance because I heard there's always a fight about the bill. So I wanted to avoid that being a reason for conflict on my birthday. I invited 12 people who said that they would come, family and friends, which include my mom, now that my dad is dead. She's no longer super religious for some reason. Yesterday, I had my nails, makeup, and hair professionally done. I wanted to look nice, and I've actually only been to formal events 3 times in my life, so I was happy to be able to dress up nicely for once. I got to my dinner, sat at my table, and waited 2 hours. I kept getting calls from people telling me they were running late and unable to come anymore. After 2 hours, everyone finally told me they were not coming. They didn't tell me before dinner. They were all telling me at the time of the reservation or later. The waiter felt so bad because I was crying while I was on the phone with someone I considered to be my friend. He told me she wasn't coming for me, and that even though I didn't order a meal, he gave me a free birthday slice. I didn't even get any pictures of my outfit because I thought someone would help take them for me at the restaurant, and by the time I left the restaurant, my makeup was ruined. My mom called me on the way home and asked me to stop at her house because she had a present for me. She says she's sorry she didn't come, but she was feeling extremely unwell, and she wanted to have a present at least. I go to her house and I open the door to a surprise. People see that my face was messed up because I had been crying, so someone says, "Oh, she thought we forgot about her." And I look at the 12 people that were invited to my dinner, and I'm just disappointed that they traded what I wanted for my birthday for this. They left me stranded and humiliated at a restaurant for hours. I left the surprise party after 5 minutes and just told my mom to keep her present to herself. I'm sorry, but am I the idiot for not seeing a good intention here? Am I overreacting? In what universe did 12 people think it would be a good idea to stand up the birthday girl on her birthday and then expect her to be happy? That is cruel. You are not the idiot. You planned what you wanted for your birthday. Your friends and family completely disregarded that, lied to you, and left you feeling ignored and unwanted on your birthday. They may have had the best of intentions, but that paves the road to the bad place. In the end, it's not the intentions that matter, but results. Things would have worked out well if they had done this on any other day. Instead, they left you alone and feeling unwanted. In no way, shape, or form are you to blame here. If they wanted to truly give you a nice surprise, your mom could have asked you to come by her house to pick something up before the dinner at the restaurant. Then they could have surprised you there. Then everyone headed over to the restaurant together. That would have been a nice way to surprise you. They're all idiots. Yeah, I completely fail to understand why they thought leaving OP stranded at the restaurant was a good idea. OP had already told everyone dinner was on her. Just mind-boggling stupidity and insensitivity. And to say, "Oh, she thought we forgot her." They made OP believe that they had forgotten her. All of them were too busy, and nobody cared. They did that deliberately, hurt her, in order to get the buzz of the surprise change. OP, so sorry your first birthday party got so jacked up. This make them feel alone and then surprise tactic needs to die in a fire. My cousin is approaching 600 pounds and requires a mobility scooter, as walking even short distances is painful for her. Next month, she has an out-of-state wedding to attend, and I was asked to taxi her to and from the event. I'm not currently employed, so my calendar is open. Unfortunately, my car will not carry a mobility scooter, so my cousin must use a wheelchair. The problem is that this event is being held in a public park, and I can barely push her wheelchair on a paved surface, let alone across grass and dirt. I tried contacting a couple of rental agencies in the area, but they wouldn't lease scooters in this case because of the off-road use. My aunt and uncle also declined to loan me their truck, which is how my cousin normally gets around because I have a pretty bad driving history. I did look into renting a vehicle that could carry the scooter, but my cousin couldn't afford to pay for that. And obviously, with me being jobless, I can't either. The distance from parking to the event is about 40 yards, which my cousin can't handle walking. About the best solution anyone's come up with is that the party has a flatbed that they're using to tote supplies from the cars. But my cousin says she would feel humiliated having to be rolled in like that. My cousin is furious with me, saying I'm shaming her by saying I can't push her, but I feel it's the honest truth. Like 100%, the thin wheels of the wheelchair are going to dig into the ground, and I'm not strong enough to handle that. My cousin has done a lot for me in the past, so I do feel bad saying no, but I've looked into every option at this point. Am I the idiot for not being willing to give it the college try? Also, please don't degrade my cousin. Please and thank you. I have a Kia Optima. I have another family member who's about 350 years old who says it's comfortable for him. Not the idiot. This aunt and uncle are her parents? If yes, that truck needs to be used. Either tell them you drive the truck, or the three of them can find another solution. Honestly, you sound like you've searched for every possible solution. You're dealing with the laws of physics here. You can't stop the wheelchair from sinking into the ground, and you can't make yourself strong enough to deal with it. Your family has to understand that, and then figure something else out, even if that something else is that she can't safely attend. I don't know why your cousin is furious with you. My guess is that she misplaced anger due to embarrassment. No one gets to that size with good mental health, so it might be easier for her to lash out rather than self-reflect. I also want to say that I mean absolutely no offense, but is she even capable of taking a long car ride? I watch my 600-pound life, and a lot of those people aren't capable of going on long car rides. I don't know the situation here, though. It's just something to think about. Just FYI, your car and its interior are not designed to have 600 plus pounds in one seat. I don't care what car you have, unless you have a pickup and she rides in the back. Your car is not made for that kind of heavy-duty work. For example, a Dodge Charger can only carry a total of 865 pounds if the weight is equally distributed. Yes, it can probably handle more, but tell your family it simply isn't safe. Maybe this can be her wake-up call. She's too big to attend a wedding. My fiance, female 33, and I, male 36, have been together for 3 years. She was with her previous boyfriend for around 3 years, and they have 2 young kids together. He died 2 weeks ago. He had been struggling with addiction off and on since they were together. I've known him since childhood, but wasn't close. He was a very friendly, outgoing, charismatic guy when he was clean. He was the type of guy where if he was around, you'd stand no chance with the girls because they were all interested in him. Eventually, she broke up with him due to his addiction issues, but ensured that he still have a relationship with his kids. Recently, those have been supervised visits at his parents' house after he lost his job, lost his license, and failed court-mandated drug testing. I believe he made some genuine attempts to get clean. He was trying. I wanted him to succeed because I've always thought he was a good guy, and his kids deserved that version of him. I became the stable day-to-day father figure, which I willingly took on, but I respected that he was their dad, and they loved him. Since he died, she's been a mess. Yesterday, she stayed in bed all day before sitting outside at night, crying for at least an hour. Today is Father's Day, and she practically woke up crying. I know she's not just sad that he's gone, but she's sad for her kids. I know it was devastating for her to have to tell her 2 very young children that their dad was dead. She's been moping around for 2 weeks, crying nonstop, calling off work. I told her she really needed to snap out of it. She told me, "I love him so much. He was the love of my life. I will never love anyone that much." I guess that was the last straw for me, and I told her to get over him or I'll be out. I'm not going to be second in her heart after a dead guy she hasn't even been in a relationship with for years. She told me I was not being empathetic and I had no tact. I'm an idiot, and he was never that mean to her, regardless of what was going on. Yeah, it's easy not to be an idiot when you're strung out on sugar or stay intoxicated 24/7 and are the happy type of intoxicated. Am I the idiot for telling her to get over him and that I won't stick around if she's still in love with him, sees him as the love of her life, or says she won't ever love anyone else like that again? I really want to know if this was an idiot thing to say or an ultimatum to give. Edit. I'm certain she was being honest too. She hasn't even tried to backtrack or deny it. Before she said it with words, I found her repeatedly kissing his picture and a bracelet he gave her. I'm sorry, that's just too much for me. Lying in bed with his picture, kissing it over and over? You know where you stand now, if you didn't already. Not the idiot, but unless you're prepared to be her eternal plan B, it's time to leave, yes? Staying knowing she settled for you? It must be heartbreaking. Apologize for your lack of empathy and tell her that despite this, the knowledge she settled for you is not something you can live with. Kissing the picture? No, that's not grief. That's love. You need to have self-respect and leave her. You need a woman who loves you from her whole heart. She was never over him. She just needed someone to raise her kids and support her while she figured out how to get him back. She was probably always hoping he would get clean. Yeah, I'm so sorry, dude, but the person who just commented is spot on, and there really isn't anything left to say. You are and were 100% a placeholder, just in case she couldn't get her original family back. But that was always the plan. She was just watching and waiting from afar. The fact that he died ruined her plans, and now she's just stuck with you and will never love you as much as she loved him. She needs to take her kids and go find herself and grieve somewhere else until she's ready to heal. None of this is on you, but it will never work, and you both already know that. Don't delay the inevitable. Just do what you need to do. My girlfriend recently sat down and asked if she could talk. She mentioned that it would be a good idea for us to share our location with each other at all times. She wanted to use the Find My Phone app and have it on constantly. I asked why, and she said she just thought it could be useful. She mentioned that she recently got a car. She thinks for safety, we should share locations, just in case anything happens to her when she's driving. I offered a compromise and suggested she share her location when she's getting in the car, and then turn it off when she's back. She disagreed and said we should both share it. I said I didn't really feel comfortable knowing I can always be tracked. She said it was suspicious that I was refusing, but I just pointed out that I don't feel comfortable with it and that I've offered a compromise. She said I was being unreasonable and that she isn't asking for much, but I just mentioned that I've offered a perfectly reasonable compromise that she's refusing. Am I the idiot for not wanting my location tracked at all times? No, it's suspicious that she's insisting. Not being tracked is the default. Surveillance needs a valid reason. She doesn't have a good enough reason to trump your right to personal privacy. That's not something you should give up. By the way, if you're sharing your location, the app you're using is tracking it too. They can keep that information forever and sell it at any time. Do you trust them? Not the idiot. She's trying to manipulate you. Red flag. My 22 male girlfriend of 3 years, 21, has severe PTSD. She's been in therapy for years and has really improved over the past few years. The one thing that hasn't improved is that nights are hard for her, and she needs very specific things to be able to fall asleep. She needs every window in the apartment to be closed and locked. Our bedroom door must be locked, and she checks the entire apartment 1 to 2 times before going to sleep to make sure everything's how she needs it. The light must be on, and she needs a fan and a heated blanket. From there can't be any loud noises. We don't have anything on the bed or where it can be expected to accidentally make a noise. And we have sound dampening curtains outside our window because if there's any loud noise, she'll wake up and I'll have to check the apartment, closets, and everything and convince her that she's safe and can go back to bed. Even with all of this, she still has nights where she wakes up screaming or has nightmares so bad that she vomits. We stayed with family a few months ago, and it was horrible. I explained all this to my mom, and she assured me the doors and windows have locks. They can keep the windows closed at night while she's there. They'll make sure there's no loud noises at night, and they'll have a fan she could use. It was horrible. None of the doors or windows had locks. There was no fan. My sister was not quiet at night, and they complained about the light so much that we turned it off. We stayed there for 2 nights, and she didn't sleep at all for either of those nights, then had rough days because she wasn't sleeping. On the 3rd day, I ended up spending almost $1,000 on an Airbnb so she could sleep. They said I was being ridiculous and that she was exaggerating because there was no way she stayed up for 2 nights. The rest of the visit was okay since she was able to sleep, but they kept making comments about how ridiculous we were for getting an Airbnb. Now they want to visit our city and stay in our apartment, but I said no because when we stayed with them, it was a crap show, and I can't throw her off in her own home. They think we're being dramatic, and that if it's that big of a deal, she can stay with her sister while they're here. Our apartment is on her sister's property. Her sister built it specifically so she'd be able to move out while still having someone right there when she needs help. But I refused to kick her out so they could stay. Now they're calling us ungrateful and saying my girlfriend hates them and I'm taking her side. Am I the idiot? So it isn't even your apartment, it's your home, but you have the least authority over what happens there. Tell your parents that they have no say over the arrangements. If they want to come see you, they need to find an Airbnb close by. Now they're calling us ungrateful. For what exactly are you supposed to be grateful? Are you supposed to be a lifelong doormat for having been their child? Are their wishes supposed to override everyone just because? Ask them what the point of this visit is, since it's obviously not to spend an enjoyable time with you. They think your girlfriend should vacate her home and live somewhere else for a bit because her mental health needs are inconvenient to their vacation plans. If your girlfriend doesn't hate them, she's a bloody saint. I hate them, and I'm just a rando on the internet. They can go camping in a ditch with standing water and no bug spray. It's not your apartment. Tell them that. It's her apartment built for her by her sister, so she can have some independence but still feel safe. I feel like telling them will result in his family bullying the girlfriend into letting them stay. It's OP's family. He needs to handle it. Your family's being dramatic and entitled. Your lives don't revolve around what they want. Her sister's awesome, and so are you. My heart goes out to your girlfriend. I've been where she is. It gets better with time. I still wake up screaming 20 years later, but not often. Your girlfriend can heal if she's surrounded by people who support her.